You can't mention the NFL playoffs or the AFC playoffs in general without the New England Patriots. Last year was the first time probably since Tom Brady was an active player, not counting the season where he was injured, that the Patriots had a losing record. So you probably had to go back to maybe the Drew Bledsoe days. Here with me, a guy who's probably can go toe-to-toe for me with sports knowledge as well, is someone, a friend of the podcast, a friend of the blog. He is someone who contributes to the blog, and you will definitely see his contributions with the NFL playoff predictions, is longtime Patriots fan, Terrence Blackwell.
Hey, I appreciate you for having me, and I'm doing well. It's playoff football time. It's getting real close to that time. So, it's going to be real interesting. I will say that these playoffs on both sides are just looking crazy.
And we'll talk about it further about the addition of the 7th playoff spot in each conference. But yeah, that has made things more of a scramble. But before we get into all that, first thing I have to ask, how did you become a Patriots fan, and what has been the attraction to them?
I really just picked all my favorite teams when I was 4 years old. Ever since I was a kid, and, going back to my bio, I would literally just sit in front of a TV, just sit and watch in front of, ESPN, and just literally look at everything. Football, basketball, baseball, whatever sport it is, I try to, at least have, some kind of base knowledge about it. So it really started early. And to be honest, it all started to annoy my family. My mother and my sister are Dolphins fans. And of course, everyone doesn't like New England. And at that time, it was the AFC Central. And that's when the Colts were in our division. We had to see Testaverde and AJ, Fielder and all those kind of guys, even though Testaverde, he played for the Jets, I believe.
What is your most memorable moment as a Patriots fan? There's so many to choose from. Can you narrow it down to one?
Yes and no. Yes, because if we're going happy moments, I have a bad moment and a happy moment. But if we're going just the happy moment, definitely that 2014 Malcolm Butler interception. That literally left me speechless. Seeing that live, seeing the Seahawks drive, and we couldn't stop Marshawn. Tom had just gone down the field, hit a beautiful China route to Julian Edelman, and we were looking pretty, but we've seen what happens when we play in that stadium in Arizona. That's where we lost the second Super Bowl towards the Giants, and it just does not seem to go well for us. But yeah, that Malcolm Butler's pick, that was amazing. Left me speechless.
Going into the season, what were the expectations? I know 7-9 with Cam Newton under center last year, and then going into training camp, and there was a talk of Mac Jones being picked. I know it all depended on what was going to happen. They were going to miss out on Trevor Lawrence and all the other guys that went ahead of them. Then the news comes out that Cam Newton gets cut. What did that mean to you when you heard that Belichick's going with Mac Jones, an unproven rookie, to start the season?
Well, my expectations were that we were going to be the dark horse team. I did feel like we would still be where we are because I looked at our schedule and the first 6 to 8 games, they looked pretty tough. I knew that 4th game against Tom was going to be emotional, to say the least. And it was that for every Patriot and Tom fan like myself. But as soon as Cam got cut, I already knew at that point, we're just going to go ahead. We're going to hopefully try to draft Mac Jones. Hopefully no one takes him. But one of my best friends, Josh Mayers, he is an Alabama guy. He's all Bama all the time. And he was like, Terrence, he's going to be the re-evolution of the pocket passer with guys like Trey Lance and Lamar and all these other mobile quarterbacks. Mac, he can move. He can get out the pocket, but that's not really his thing. But he's a traditional pocket passer. He scans the defense, he speed reads, and he finds the best matchup for him and his guys. And, that's something that Bill likes. Bill doesn't like when you turn the ball over or you're just not productive towards the team. Because if you look at when Tom was his first 2 or 3 years, he was very Mac Jones-like. He'll make a little 5-yard out here. He'll hit the check down. He'll hit the halfback out of the flat or whatever, or on the Texas route or whatever that they're going to run. And he's willing to be okay with that. So as soon as we actually drafted Mac Jones, I actually felt very, very, very comfortable because I knew that he was smart enough to just speed read the defense and say, hey, if today's not my day to throw for 300 yards, I won't. But if it is, I'm ready.
Was there a point in the schedule you're confident that the Patriots were going to the playoffs? Was it that 7-game winning streak? Was there a particular game in that streak? Was it the win against Tennessee? Was it the win against Buffalo? Was it a win against the Chargers? Was there any particular moment where you thought that the Patriots are the real deal?
I kind of always thought that, but the game that really had did it for me was when Tommy came back home. Because, yes, granted, we did lose. And if the win wasn't as crazy as it was, who says our kicker doesn't make that field goal, and, we beat the Bucs. As a Patriot fan, that's how I was looking at it. And the fact that Tom coming back home, he's going to want to put up 50. And if there was ever a game where it was like, oh, man, whatever we do not rattle the cage of Tom Brady, it was definitely that game. And the fact that we held him to under 21 points. I don't know if anybody saw that. As it was getting towards game time, I remember being at my a friend of my family's house, and we all had to get together and stuff. And before the game tipped off, I said, I got a feeling that we got something for this team. And we'll probably get to that in a little bit, but I definitely felt like that game was the turning point for us because we just realized if we can go toe-to-toe with them, they just won the chip. We can go toe-to-toe with them, we can go toe-to-toe with anybody.
Was there a particular moment on the schedule that had you take a little pause? Was it the season opening loss to the Dolphins? Was it the loss to the Cowboys in overtime? Was it the Saints loss?
Of the losses that we have, I would definitely have to say it was the Dolphins. But with that was Matt Jones's first start. So it was like, it was a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, we lost at home to the Dolphins, and it's not even that game. It's our games at home. We have a losing record at home, I believe. But the fact that we traditionally do not lose at home. And I was expecting the loss to the Dolphins to come the last game of the year when we go to Miami, because, that is usually when we lose that game. It's not usually first game of the year when they come to us. But that Dolphins game, it got me a little worried, but I knew at the end of the day it was still Mac Jones' first game.
Looking at the AFC playoffs, who do you think the Patriots match up the best with? Is it Kansas City? Is it Baltimore? Is it Tennessee? Is it Buffalo? I mean, two of those teams that you've already faced. Could it be anybody else that you feel that the Patriots match up the best with in the AFC?
Absolutely the Bills. The Bills, they're pretty much us, minus the fact that we don't have a Stephon Diggs. But they're very well coached. They have a great defense. They have a offense that can run the ball or they can throw you out the building. It really doesn't matter to them. They're really a team that worries and cares about just getting the job done. And the fact that Josh Allen, at the end of the day, a lot of these games come down to what quarterback can make the most of his opportunities. And Josh Allen, he's been doing extremely well. And we haven't really seen Mac be in that position. But the fact that, he's shown us already throughout the season that he can really just take whatever that the defense gives him and hurt them with it. I like that going in. And I kind of like the fact that we're a little bit in their head too. Only throwing the ball 3 times last time in their building, having the whole playbook open kind of a little bit for the second matchup at home. Or we can just try to scrap to get that win out and see them in the playoffs.
Who in the AFC petrifies you as a Patriots fan? Is it Kansas City?
It's Kansas City, and that's it. And I'm not saying that because of anything else. I feel like our defense can literally almost go shut anyone down at any given time. That Chiefs team, I don't know how you stop it. I've always said it, and I've said it before. They started going on this crazy run. I mean, you can go to the times I was picking them, in the playoffs on the blog. Like, it's hard to stop that team. Tyreek Hill, he almost requires a double. Travis Kelce almost also requires a double. And then you also have to worry about Hardman. You got to worry about Pringle. Now they got Josh Gordon. And the fact that, Patrick Mahomes, after you shut all that down, Patrick Mahomes can still run and take off for a good 10 to 12 yards, and that is demoralizing as a defense. When you've literally covered every single thing, you've got the speedster down, you got the possession guy down, you got the guy that works inside the numbers, you got the guy that works outside the numbers, you got all that covered. And he just jumps out the window for you and he goes 12 to 15 yards. That just sucks. And scarily, that defense, I've been telling people also that defense is just buying his time. Tyrann Mathieu is not going out like that. He has championship DNA. Chris Jones has championship DNA. And I knew that they weren't just going to just let anybody do whatever that they wanted to. Patriots have a 7-game win streak. Chiefs have a 6-game win streak. They terrify me.
Makes a lot of sense. And I know we'll start getting to that as well. I mean, did you think that when they made the choice of Mac Jones, would you have liked to have seen Belichick in the front office maybe try to get a Trevor Lawrence to see if that opportunity arose? Because, you know, even if it's Jacksonville and you put Trevor Lawrence in New England's offense, is it a different story compared with using Mac Jones?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mac Jones, I'm in a group chat, and a lot of the stuff that I bounce off of when it comes to people, you know, we tend to think a little bit alike. We just don't say it around people. But Mac Jones probably is the only quarterback that came out of this draft that can actually play in the system because of the verbiage. Because everything is so complicated. If you ask any NFL player what playbook, what system is the hardest to learn, it's New England's. And the fact that not only did he do that, I think he picked it up in like 3 weeks. You know, he had his girlfriend helping him run the plays and stuff like that. That takes extreme dedication. And I don't know if those other guys would have had the mental and or would they have had the drive to pick up on the offense and learn it. And he's also what Bill likes on the quarterback. He doesn't turn the ball over. He makes the throw. If it's not there, it's not there. And that's the definition of what Mac Jones is. And he's a speed reader. So I don't feel like we would be in this good of a position if we had any other quarterback.
As we start to wrap this up, who do you have coming out? Of course, the Super Bowl prediction. It is the Super Bowl prediction. Of course, who do you have coming out of the AFC? Who do you have coming out of the NFC? Who wins the Super Bowl? What's the final score?
Before I say this, I'm letting you know because I'm probably going to be doing the playoff predictions. It's going to be TBA. It's going to be to be announced. It's going to be something to change. But as we sit here right now, I'll start in the NFC, and I will go Cowboys squeaking one out. And I got the AFC. Right now, I got the Chiefs. And I have Patrick Mahomes figuring out how to stop a defensive rush that doesn't give him any time. I don't think his offensive line is going to go extinct like last year's, and we're really going to see what he can do against a high-flying offense on the other side and a very solid defense as well. And that will probably be 31-21 Chiefs.
Makes sense. And, you know, there's so many weeks to go. We never know what'll happen. So,
yeah, that's why it's all subject to change.
And like Kenny Mayne used to say, they don't play football games on paper. They play them inside TVs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, as we start to wrap this up, Terrence, what are ways people can reach out to you, not only on social media? Do you have anything you want to promote as well? And any shout outs you want to give to anybody?
The only thing that I would promote currently is just to support Snow High School athletics. For people that are watching this and you have a, you know, kid, son, daughter, you know, they're getting into high school, you know, try to think about them being a wrestler. And, you know, yeah, I'm going to use this as a way to help get some athletes into the wrestling room. But that'd be the only thing I had to promote. The way to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter, capital S, Slacks, capital B, Black, 7. And I've literally been posting about sports literally the whole entire time. Then, just like any other person, you'll get to see a little bit about me and stuff like that. And my shout outs, I'm definitely going to shout out my nephew, LT. His birthday's right around the corner, and we're going to do something very special for him. Also, brother-in-law, Larry Bishop, his birthday's right around the corner. You know, just shouting out them. And my boys, Joshua Mayers and Alec Foote. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for everything that y'all do, and thank you for keeping me going the past 2 years and my family. And just want to thank God. You know, it wouldn't be possible without him. And every single day, we just gotta try to keep getting stronger.